Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by best-selling author Tom Grossman, author of Reign of Fire. Tom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul. Good to be with you today. I hope you're not as tough as that last interviewer was. I was on a 60-minute show last week, and they really grilled me. Just kidding, the audience there. It's a joke, okay? Well, so, yeah, I'm doing great, Paul. Good to be with you.
Well, it's great talking with you again, Tom. And in full disclosure, Tom is a client of ours. We recently released his book, Reign of Fire, became a bestseller in multiple categories. And the great thing is, one, it's an amazing story. But the second part of that is the fact that we were able to make this dream of yours a reality. And it truly was an honor to do that.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Paul. And you were great to work with as well. So, yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about you. I was on another podcast last week, and I was just so proud to talk about the great job you did in getting our book to market, getting it ready and then getting it to market. So go ahead and ask me any questions you want for it. So,
all right, my friend. Well, we're going to start with question number one, and that is, what is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Yeah, first of all, I would tell them to stick with it, to believe in themselves, to believe they can actually finish it, because it is kind of a long ride from when you get the idea, you start writing it down, you get 50, 60 pages there, and then you're like, now what do I do? So I would say the biggest advice is to stick with it and finish what you started. The other thing that I wrote another book before a few years ago, and I never had the kind of help that somebody like Paul was there to give me. And I actually had a first draft of my current book, Reign of Fire, but it had a totally different title, different artwork on the cover. And I showed it to Paul at a conference he was teaching at. And I said, what do you think you can do with it? And he was like, well, let's talk about it. So first thing he wanted to do was change the cover, which was brilliant. And the title was brilliant. I mean, Paul came up with the name of the book. He had the idea for the artwork. We helped a little bit, but his designers did that. And I mean, that first of all, just getting that cover right really gave me confidence this book was going to look sharp and, encourage me to really press through and finish all the edits and finish all that had to be done, to get it to market. So stick with it, guys, and then find someone who can help you finish the race. That's what I would say.
Well, and I'll say, Tom, out of all the books that we have done, especially the cover designs, yours is one of my very favorites. I just loved how we made that vision together, because you helped us greatly with some different pictures and examples, and it really was a collaboration where we were able to take that vision and just totally next level your book.
Right. Yeah, it just came out beautiful. Brian over there, Advent Marketing helped. We sat down and talked to you on the phone. We were three of us were on the phone together, pulling pictures up and looking at different ones. And it was definitely a working on it together thing. But then after you got the idea, and we got the pictures, I was just amazed at how quickly you got the artwork done and was like finished. It was like, wow, that was fast. So I think it was only about maybe 3-4 days, and you turned the whole project around. So that was a great job, Paul.
Well, we appreciate that. And this leads perfectly into our next question, and that is, what do you feel, Tom, is the hardest part about getting published?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if there's any one answer to that, but I think it's just, wondering, is my book any good? Does anybody want to read it? those kind of questions, which every writer deals with. But then getting it to market, that's like this whole vague world out there, this shadow land that nobody really knows about unless they've done it a couple times. And with Paul's experience, I just hooked my wagon to his company, and I mean, they just, hauled it across the finish line. So, I mean, I think, sticking it out and then finding somebody like Paul, and why not use Paul yourself, except he's probably so busy he couldn't help you right now. But, I mean, he really did a great job walking us through the whole process. So yeah, but I think the hardest part for me was probably just the rewrites, rewrite it again. I gave it to my editors. I had English teachers working on it, everything. And then when I finally gave it to your editor to do it, and then I didn't know if it was a man or a woman that had finished it, but I mean, just did a beautiful job on the finished process, for the way the book. As a matter of fact, I showed the book at lunch today to an English teacher. We had lunch. Her husband's a pilot. We were just out with my wife, and she was just looking through the book, just saying, wow, it really came out beautiful. She was just really impressed with just the look of the book and the formatting. So all that is a whole nother world besides just actually writing the book. So does that help you, Paul?
Absolutely. And that's going to transition into our next question, and that is about marketing, which I know we utilized a few different strategies, but I'm going to ask for you to please share some marketing strategies that we used in your launch that worked well. And I know obviously we got the book to, I believe it was #1 in 7 categories, which I mean, honestly, between you and me, that exceeded my expectations. I thought we'd get it to at least #1 in 3 to 4. I did not expect for it to hit #1 in 7.
Right. Well, one of the things, and this was a recommendation from Paul, was to send out the e-version, which I had a copy of, to like 10 friends. I only send it to 10 friends, and I got maybe 11, and I got every one of them wrote a review, and so a couple of their husbands or wives also wrote reviews. People I didn't even ask to do the review, but we had a really good response on that because I had, really great relationships. These people all knew I was working on the book for a couple of years, so they had heard about my desire to get this done. And when it came to reading it and then writing a review, they all got their reviews ready for me. And frankly, we would have had even more, so I think when we started out the first night or next day, we had about 6 reviews up there, and they were all so they were all so descriptive of what was inside the book. I think that really helps, so nobody was like let down or thought it was about something else. You know what I mean? They all really described the book well, so it, I think, caused more good reviews to come in. So I think that was key, was getting those reviews in advance. And then, following, because I got them all in writing, then, I let people know, okay, the book's coming out. When this book comes out, you're going to download it and turn around and send your review in. And I mean, I had people working on this. Amazon wouldn't let a few of them do it. I don't know why, but a few of them just never got the review online. I mean, even though they were working on it, it was like, well, at least we got, you know what I mean? It was like, so you have to have a few more reviews in your pocket because a few people aren't going to be able to get them on there that easy. So, but having those reviews, I think, was key. And then, of course, Paul kind of walked me through. Paul and I didn't relate that much during the whole editing process and the formatting and all that because I was taking so long with my rewrites. I thought I had a finished product when I met him, and then I realized, oh no, this thing needs major work, And so, we went through that several more times, and then, but when it was time to work with Amazon, Paul, you were like a black belt. I mean, you were like a kung fu expert in that Amazon. I mean, he would send me a little email or one line, say, press this right here and it'll do this, you know. So I mean, all I had to do was press the buttons he had me press, you know, to get everything done. And it was just I was really impressed with his technical knowledge of Amazon and Kindle and how the whole thing works online. So that was really cool. So,
Well, and I
so
think
that's what I.
well, I was going
Yeah,
to say,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say, Tom, I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to systems. And that was the main thing when we were getting to this point when I sent you the timeline and broke everything down. And I'm like, hey, on this day, we're going to do this, this, and this. On this day, we're going to do this, this, and this. But I said, the main thing, my friend, trust the process, because that's all it is. I mean,
Right.
it's systems and processes that we've developed now for 5 years, and it works. It's just one of those things where if I sent you every single thing to do to launch in one email, it would be mind numbing. It'd be like you got hit with a fire hydrant full of water. But when you piece everything out, we're like, okay, now you need to do this. Now look at this, this, and this. It just makes it so much easier. And that way, hey, on this day, do this. On this day, you're going to need to do that. And you did it. You followed it exactly how it was done, and we were able to get the results. And you were able to get those reviews, because when it's your first book, the hardest thing is to get those initial reviews, and you did it. You already had those people out there that supported you. You had those fans, and they did it. And I know there's a couple of curveballs, because Amazon has certain things that they require that you have to spend so much money to leave a review, which is stupid,
Right.
but it's just, that's how Amazon is, and they control the market. So we just kind of have to play in their sandbox with them. But immediately, then you followed up with your other reviewers, and you got the reviews that we needed to get done within a very short period. So I just thought that was huge.
Yeah, that could have been the most pressure I felt during the whole thing was, okay, it's on there. We gotta get this done quick, you know. So like, and I don't know, maybe people tried to do it because they had already read the book, so they already had the review written. So when they downloaded the book, they were ready to post a review, and maybe they just tried to do it too quick or something. But yeah, in the end, it all really came together. So there you go.
It did. Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know, what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Well, I think obviously, you know, I'm a believer in the Lord, and my favorite book is the Bible. But I'll name another book. There's a book by a man called A.W. Tozer, who's actually a kind of an old time writer. I think he died in the early 60s. And the thing I liked about the book was the fact that he really stirred up a desire in my heart to know God as a person. Even though I was a believer and I went to church and all that, he really stirred up this desire in my heart to know the one who, you know, created the universe and put everything into order. And so A.W. Tozer really made that personal for me, and I give him a lot of credit for that. So I'd have to, and the name of the book is called Pursuit of God by A.W. Tozer with a Z. So there you go. And my favorite quote by any writer, of course, is Jesus, but he's quoted, he was asked by one of his disciples, you know, he was saying, hey, just follow me. And they're like, well, we don't know the way. And Jesus turned around and said, I am the way and the truth and the life. And I've just found the person of Christ to be so real, to make himself so real to my heart. I don't always reflect that well in all my daily relationships, but I really have fallen in love with the way, the truth, and the life. And he's just made himself more and more real to me over the years. So there you go.
Excellent. Well, Tom, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
Well, we're putting together a new little website for me. It's called Tom Grossman, and then abbreviated SR for senior.com. And so that's just a website. We're just getting started right now, and my website designers are a little bit behind, but we're all working together, and that's going to be our main place to visit, I think, over the years. And then, we'll probably create a blog like you have, done, Paul, that we can talk about our book and our service and all that. So that's the main place, TomGrossmanSenior.com.
Plus,
the place to go.
Plus, you can also get Tom's book on Amazon. All you have to do is type in the words "Reign of Fire," and it's actually going to be one of the first items that comes up on the key search next to a couple of Johnny Cash songs.
There you go.
Well,
there you go. Yeah.
Well, Tom,
and again, Paul, to your folks out there, I seriously can't recommend Paul enough. And you might look at his fee and say, man, that's a lot of money. But when you put as much work as you do into getting the book, completed and edited, and you do the whole thing, I mean, it's worth many times that, because you're going to have that book for the rest of your life. It's going to be like a part of your legacy in life. And I look at it as like almost like a nest egg. It's like, hey, it's worth trading money to get something that's going to outlast me. And in the end, that people hopefully will be reading, a generation or two from now. So it's worth every penny. Paul's the best at what he does, and I've got another book I want to do and have him published. But Paul, I got a question for you. Do you do second books and third books for people, or only first books? I know that's your real goal.
No, we do them all. In fact, we're actually starting to help several of our clients with their second and third book. So yeah, we'll do up to 100, maybe 200 books with you if you feel like it. So however many you want to do.
Is there any? Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I've got a book called The Praying Church I'm working on. And of course, we'll change the title. It'll probably have Fire from Heaven or something, we'll call it. I don't know. I'm sure you'll come up with something good on it, Paul. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to working with you again real soon.
Well, okay. we could always call it Rain of Fire 2 Electric Boogaloo as well.
Oh man, that would do it. That would do it.
I'm kidding. Well, Tom, this has been a pleasure. I really appreciate all your kind words. You being an amazing client, and definitely looking forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks, Paul, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.